So in this video, I'm gonna show you guys exactly how you can get free, super easy DIY in your home YouTube backdrop background on YouTube studio in your room, living room, your office, wherever it is, even outside, and super easy, simple tips that you can easily use, no money, no budget, instantly increase your video production with just changing your simple background with everything that you have. You don't need to buy anything. Stay tuned for this video. When it comes to having a YouTube studio background, it's not so much about getting the fancy equipment, or you need like some fancy lighting, or you need to spend $10,000, $1,000 plus on, getting decent light. Yes, you do need lighting. So what I'm using right now is, you have a Diva ring light that I have right here. I'm using a ring light, a hair light right there, but just as you can see, just a simple clamp. And I also have a back kind of lamp right there. And a link of all of those are in the description that you can check out. But the most important thing when it comes to having a YouTube setup or backdrop idea is not so much the background. Forget about that first, contrary to popular belief. First things first is that it's all about composition. Just like photos, videos applies for the same thing. So let's take, for example, me right now. Put myself right over here. So right now, as you can see, I am center frame in this video right now, and I am dead center. And if you're filming mostly YouTube videos and you want to make it very personal and very like confessional like, and you're talking and you're trying to draw emotions for your YouTube studio, most of the time being dead in the center is essentially the best way to shoot a YouTube video. So what I'm looking for right now is, I'm looking that I am dead center. I'm making sure I have 2 to 3 fingers of headspace. So if I'm like that, it's a little, claustrophobic. I'm right there. It looks fine to me. And after you are dead in the middle, you want to make sure you have your meat and bread. What does that mean? I'm the meat, right? I'm in the middle. But you also want to make sure what's to the left of you, what's to the right of you, all right? So the easiest, simplest way to just shoot any YouTube video, have a background idea, is shoot against a blank wall. And I'm going to show you that in the next part, but for this, I wanted to make sure that I was dead middle, and I do have something a little interesting, like a bookshelf, all my books, my lenses here, and to the right of me, I could frame my laptop so that I can push it here, maybe, right? So that acts as a little something to look at, but I am still the main focal point for the video. And for the setup, all it is, you got your ring light here shining down at my face, right here on the side. So you can't see it on camera, but you can see it in this guy right here. I have a light right here. You can't see it unless I point up. And that is a decent YouTube backdrop because I'm more worried about me being in frame. You can have the most cinematic backdrop videos but if your composition is whack, you can spend $1 million. You gotta make sure you have composition. That's step or tip number 1. But now I'm gonna just go over there and just shoot with a blank wall and show you guys exactly how that looks like. So what I'm doing now is I'm just turning my light. Same thing applies. I'm having it to the right side. And fun fact for these videos, I'm actually kneeling. So I'm like this, right here. You want that white wall? Just come up a little closer. Get this light right here. Putting the camera a little down. Make sure the light is a little slanted. So secondly, I have the light down right here. I'm gonna get my softbox to fill out, because right now there is shadow. And now I'm gonna turn this guy to make it a little white. so the lights are matching. And now I am essentially having it set up in a sandwich setup. One light here, softbox, you have your ring light, and that fills me out. I can turn this guy off to see how that looks, right? Before, after, with 2 lights. And yes, there's a door here, but honestly, this is more than enough when it comes to a YouTube backdrop. Is that just go against a white wall behind your door. I've seen so many influencers now, they have the money to upgrade and have their own DIY backdrop studio. But if you look at a lot of bigger YouTubers when they first started, is that it was just in the room behind a wall, 2 lights, and bam, this is what you have as a super simple DIY YouTube setup. And you don't really need a fancy backdrop. You can like buy some poster paper to have as a white color backdrop, and you have fancy lighting. But this is a DIY budget YouTube backdrop. But this, you know, I've actually shot a couple of my videos here just like this fine. So you have 2 corners in your room. You essentially have 2 studios. But let's jump back to my main YouTube backdrop setup, and I'll show you one last trick when it comes to having it a little spicier, you know. I make sure that I have meat and bread, like I said, something to the left of me, something to the right, so it is a little bit interesting. I do have a backlight, so it's not completely black or dark back there, and there is a hair light up here, and I have my ring light off to the side, and that is my YouTube backdrop, just the corner of my home office studio editing bay. And last tip when it comes to having your own backdrop idea is kind of goes back to the first point, and that is making sure, play around with having rule of thirds. So you don't always have to be dead in the center when it comes to videos. You'll probably see this a lot, is the rule of thirds. So for example, I can be right here and talk to you guys and just be off to the side just a bit. You'll see this in interview type of videos, just off the side. Hey guys, what's up? I'm gonna talk to you about blah blah blah. And you can also change around with the backdrop. For example, I can also go to the right. Oh shoot, but don't knock over your camera. All right, I can also be right here, all right? But because of the setup, the way that it looks, the best way, so it's not too busy, is that I am dead in the middle. So play around with how it looks. Be cognizant of what's to the left of you, what's to the right of you. Most people have a bookshelf, film in front of a window as well. And just be aware of, like, for example, there's a corner in this room right here. I can use that as a focal point. There's a white space right in the middle, so I fill myself up right in the middle, so I have less blank space. Less blank space means a little bit more interesting, and that is how I set up. DIY budget, you don't need to spend a damn dollar when it comes to having a cool backdrop idea. Just need simple lights, simple setup, you know, and some creativity when it comes to thinking of the location. You can do the same thing outdoors. Same thing applies. Link in the description. You want to check out everything that I recommend and I use. Get my free camera guide. You're feeling a little adventurous? Help me help you. I do have a course, complete beginners to expert, show you how to use a camera even if you have no experience at all. Everything is in the description. Check it out. My name is Peter. You're watching a Broke Visionary Collective, where we all start with nothing, but you can always create something.